What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lieutenant Nathaniel Flint of the Landship Scorpios, and today we're going over the mission cards of Rivet Wars Reloaded, obviously. So in classic Rivet Wars, you had secret mission cards. They were basically little gotchas, little objectives to complete during the game to get extra victory points. These could be a clutch way to seize victory after you've been falling behind, or in a way to just ensure that you completely stomped out your opponent. In Rivet Wars Reloaded, however, they didn't want them to be basically a pain or a useless part of the game, or to be a little bit unfair. They straight up wanted an alternate way to win the game. If you were falling behind and you just couldn't catch up on victory points, this was going to be a completely different way that you could achieve victory. And thus we have mission cards. As discussed in the core rulebook video, which will be in the cards, mission cards are missions for everyone. Consider them like achievements or objectives that everyone playing the game at the time can achieve. Depending on the scenario you do, achieving a certain amount of these missions will also win your side the game outright, regardless of where the victory points are at the moment. So if you're playing a game and you're just falling so far behind and you don't think you're going to be able to get those strategic objectives or take out those bigger bounty units to catch up, you might want to consider switching up your strategy to focus on multiple of these mission cards to cinch the victory in that way. And today we're just going to be going through them and giving just raw opinions on them as we go through them. So let's jump right in. These are the core mission cards for Rivet Wars Reloaded. First off, we have Supremacy. Supremacy, occupy every strategic objective during a turn. Instead of scoring victory points from those objectives, you instead complete this mission. That's pretty cool. And we're going to see a lot of these, so I'm going to get it out of the way early. I do like the trade-off of you're holding these objectives, and that means you're doing good enough in the game as is, but instead of piling on to your win conditions, instead of gaining more victory points from those objectives you hold, instead you can score this mission card. And I feel like that is a solid way to balance mission cards like these. So I like that mechanic. There's a few cards that basically have the same tit for tat, like a gambling thing. And I do love that, I just want to say. The bigger picture, occupy a strategic objective during a turn. Instead of scoring victory points from that objective, you instead complete this mission. Same deal. It's a little bit of an easier version. I like it. Elimination. Destroy 3 or more enemy units in a turn. Solid. Achievable. Boots on the ground. Have a friendly infantry unit in enemy territory. This is really cool. This is like the Leroy Jenkins secret mission card, which was really made or break some games. Some of my best memories involve that card in classic Rivet Wars. So this is kind of fulfilling that same niche. I really love it. Assassination. No breathing. No. Destroy an enemy hero unit. This is something you're going to want to do anyways, especially for those bounties. So this is really awesome. I also hope that this includes hero plugs. It should. They're still hero units. So this is, I feel, decently achievable in a normal game. Recon sweep. Have a friendly unit in at least 5 different no man's land tiles. This feels a little harder, a little bit more difficult, but I do like this idea. I really do. On certain scenarios, this is going to be a lot easier to achieve than on others. And my assumption is because each scenario is different as what cards it uses, this is probably only on a handful of scenarios as is, where this is probably a little bit maybe easier to achieve than others. But still, this is a very interesting card. Take it to them. Have a friendly unit in enemy territory. This is doable, and it's not just an infantry unit. This is any unit that you can get in enemy territory. So, I mean, solid. This is achievable in most games, I would say. Domination. No breathing. No, I can't keep making that joke. Occupy 2 strategic objectives during a turn. Instead of scoring, instead achieve this mission. Simple. I've already talked about it. I do love this idea. Battalion. Have any combination of 3 or more friendly cavalry or support units in no man's land tiles. This is pretty awesome. I'm going to just throw that out there. I think that this is achievable. It is a little bit harder, but on most games, you'd be able to get 3 cavalry into no man's land decently easy. So, I mean, a solid yes, sir. I like it. A+. Wire cutters. Remove barbed wire using a friendly tank unit. I do like this one. I like that it's an interaction with barbed wire, which can sometimes be forgotten about in classic Rivet Wars. I mean, my personal games, we try to make use of all those terrain pieces as much as possible, but we also play massive games on big boards where it just adds to it. I do like this. My only feedback would be why a tank unit specifically, since there are multiple units that can destroy barbed wire. But I do appreciate this card. I do think that it's a good addition. Land grab. Have a friendly unit in every no man's land tile. This sounds hard as heck. This sounds like it'd be very difficult. Maybe on smaller maps, this would be easier to achieve, or on like defender attacker scenarios. But this sounds hard. I'm very interested to take another look on scenarios where this pops up to see how achievable this is. Lead from the front. Move a friendly hero infantry unit into a no man's land tile. Ballsy, I do like this. This encourages not hiding your heroes, especially the infantry ones who are a little squishy, in the back lines, or only buffing from like deployment zones. I do love that this encourages to get them out into danger for your enemies in return for achieving a mission. I do like this. So A+, this makes a lot of sense. Mow them down. Destroy 3 or more enemy units in a single area in a turn. So this is a little harder to do than the other one that was kill 3 units. But I do feel that this is good flavor. Like, mow them down. You are attacking like a grouped up, a bunch of them. This is Schlitten territory. This is attacking, ganging up on a group of people. I love this. I feel like this is good and achievable, and it does encourage your enemies, or you or your enemy, to spread out your units instead of grouping them all up on strategic objectives and bunkers. So A+. Ready to charge. Have at least 6 or more friendly infantry units in trenches. Awesome. I love this flavor. You're already encouraged to achieve this, but having 6 infantry out in the field on the time is an investment. And this is also decently achievable for someone who finds himself falling behind. Trenches are also things that act as trenches, would be strategic objectives and bunkers, unless they specifically say that doesn't apply to mission cards. So this is something you're already kind of running for. I feel like this is a good way to get a mission achieved. But also having all those units out just gives your opponent, makes them feel good to just basically wipe them all away after you have achieved that mission. Capture the flag. Remove an enemy flag token from a strategic objective. You are already trying to do this in a course of a game. This feels good, helping you get caught up after your enemies put up a flag and has achieved that. Just a nice little mission there to make it feel better that you're achieving good things in your game. Combined arms. Have at least 1 friendly infantry, cavalry, support, tank, and plug unit on the battlefield. I loved things like this. I'm pretty sure a lot of my custom secret mission cards I made myself involved basically encouraging having a plethora of units out instead of focusing on a very specific group. So I loved stuff like this. So I think that this is a good mission to have. It encourages getting different unit types or a plethora of unit types out in the field. Who knows? Might encourage you to play with some things that you don't normally play with your strategies. Reclaim the land. Destroy at least one enemy infantry unit on at least 2 different strategic objectives during a turn. Again, just encouraging you taking the fight to your opponent. And if they already have infantry units on 2 separate strategic objectives, this is already a goal that you're attempting to achieve. So this could just feel good. Under the threads, I think this is supposed to be treads. Move a friendly unit with tank shock or juggernaut into an area containing enemy infantry units. So this is like a much better Killdozer. Killdozer is absolutely infamous for being an impossible strategic objective. A secret mission, to achieve in classic Rivet Wars. It's the reason why we allow 1 discard of secret mission cards to get a new one, is because nothing is worse than pulling Killdozer and realizing that you're never going to achieve that in a game. So this is really good. This is really fun. It just involves making use of a special that's already something you want to do with those units. A lot of units on both sides have tank shock. And then it also includes Juggernaut, which is super nice as well. So I love it. A+. Infiltration. Have a friendly unit in an enemy deployment area. This is fun because not only are you achieving a mission, but you are denying them deploying units in that deployment spot because you cannot move units or deploy units into a space they can't move into. And that includes a space where an enemy unit is. So this is awesome. I do like this idea. It serves 2 purposes: getting a mission completed and denying a deployment opportunity. Search and destroy. Place your 3rd game tile. I am assuming that this is for a very specific game type. I'm assuming the search and destroy one. And I'm assuming this is if memory serves me from doing the video so long ago, that this is basically if you are losing and you have to keep placing game tiles with the game scenario. If you place your 3rd one down, you'll get this as basically a way to help you get a little bit of boost as you start losing, or for both sides if there's a lot of back and forth. So I do like the idea, like the concept of this. So A+. It definitely works where it needs to be in scenarios where there is placing game tiles down. Superiority. Occupy 4 strategic objectives during a turn. Instead of scoring VPs from these objectives, you may complete this mission instead. That's crazy. That's a lot. So again, just that you are already winning by a lot, but instead of continuing to distance the gap with victory points, this is giving the other player a chance by basically putting all those points somewhere else, which is a mission card, which is still furthering their goal of winning the game, but it might put that somewhere else if they're doing so well with objectives already. A bunker buster. Destroy an enemy unit in a bunker. I like it. It's simple. It's achievable. It can be used in most games. I love it. Bring it down. Destroy an enemy tank unit with a bounty. Instead of scoring victory points from its bounty, you may complete this mission. Very interesting. I do like this. I do like this idea. It's basically the strategic objective one, but different. This one will definitely reward you for the type of tank that you destroy. For instance, I can see deploying the big boys, the heavy metal boys, so the double play or the Griffin's Hammer, knowing that your opponent hasn't scored this. So instead of getting 3 deployment points from those bounties, you're just kind of smiling wryly, going, oh, I guess you should get the mission. So I do like the kind of back and forth. Military campaign. Destroy 5 or more enemy units in a single area in a turn. I don't know how you would do this at all in a single area in a turn. Destroy 5 or more. So this would need to use gas clouds or forced movement or something. This one's hard. I don't know how this one would be achieved. I'm hoping maybe this is gets revisited in a work in progress, but I think it would really depend on what scenario this pops up in. But this feels like it would be extremely hard to achieve in a single turn. And we have Armored Advance. Have 2 or more friendly tank units in No Man's Land tiles, which is more than achievable now with there being multiple tank units in the base set, as well as it's just easier to get things like the Vanguard expansion or the, let's say the reinforcements where there's the big tanks. So I like this one as well. Armored Advance, A+. You know what? What are we doing? Why don't we just knock them all out? I would love this to be a really short video, but why don't we just knock all of these out? The Nemoans have a single mission card in the Nemoan expansion. So that mission card is Armored Assault. Move a friendly unit with Tank Shock, Juggernaut, Driller, or Big Driller into a square containing enemy units. This is just another big beefy of that Tank Shock mission card, but it's expanded to include Driller and Big Driller. My homebrew rule for this immediately would be, if you're just playing a game, but anytime the Nemoans are involved, if there's that other one that includes Juggernaut and Tank Shock, just replace it with this as a mission so that Nemoans get use of that as well. I like it. I mean, that I instantly have a homebrew rule for this, so I think that's decent, because I'm like, why wouldn't you use this? This definitely feels like an expansion to that other card. And Aerial Aces has additional mission cards for their scenarios as well. So let's just get them out of the way. Take to the Skies. Have at least 5 air units in No Man's Land. I feel like that's pretty good. Air Dominance. When you gain 2 victory points from a strategic objective, instead of gaining victory points, you may score this card. Just one more way to do that, holding strategic objectives, but different. So this is just one more version of that card. Again, this is probably used specifically in certain Aerial Aces scenarios. Reconnaissance. Have a light aircraft air unit in a grid adjacent to an enemy deployment square. This is pretty good. This is like Leroy Jenkins, but for aircraft. Dogfighting. Destroy 2 enemy air units in a turn using friendly air units. So specifically, air unit on air unit dogfighting. This is really cool and makes sense for a mission card out of Aerial Aces. So I love it. A+. And quick and easy, that is it. That's all for mission cards today. I'm so glad that you were able to come with me on this journey. We just went ahead and knocked them all out. I have quick and dirty things. My only feedback that is, I would say, is big feedback, is I really hope, these are all work in progress, I really hope for the Nemoan and for the Aerial Aces that they just change the art style. Like, why wouldn't you have custom art if they're already going to be in the thing? There's just the same few art pieces, which makes sense in the core when there's 25 cards that you only have a few that you switch between. But when you're making entirely new cards for the Nemoan and the Aerial Aces that are specific to those, just having a different art style for them to make them, one, easier to identify if you need to remove them from a pack or something, or if you're specifically using them for those scenarios that use those units. But 2, also, like, we just want to see more art. And the reason for that is my other feedback is this art rocks. Look at this. I love the update from Classic Rivet Wars. So a lot of these are reuses of Classic Rivet Wars art from their mission cards. So I mean, like this Rocket Cycle one looks amazing. This Blight one looks good. This one looks great. This one looks great. These look really good recolored. Like some of them are recolors and some of them feel like they have been completely redone. Even though they're obviously from specific, like I can see them in my mind where they come from. So I do love them. The art looks great. The only thing that I would want is more. But it does feel like, you know, a cost-cutting measure or a corner-cutting measure, which feels really rude to say, but it feels like, you know, in Aerial Aces, we should have Aerial Aces ones, and in Nemoans, we should get a new art thing for the Nemoan one, especially if it was like like if you remember the original card Killdozer, I'll put that up in editing, like that, but with the drill just bursting out of the ground, sending units flying. Like, it'd be nice to just see more of that art that brings a lot of character to Rivet Wars. Also come over in Rivet Wars Reloaded. But otherwise, that's it. I do like the mission cards. I like the change of the mission system. I like the second way to win a Rivet Wars game, especially since I lose way more than I win. For someone who loves this game so much, I'm not good. Or I surround myself with really good players. But that is really it. I do love it. A+. That's my only feedbacks, is wanting more art. Otherwise, I need to play a lot of these other scenarios to really feel how achievable or not achievable these mission cards are. But maybe we'll talk about that when we start doing dives into the scenarios that we got. So thank you guys so much for watching on this video here. Hopefully it wasn't too long, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I have links down below to where all the places where Rivet Wars is, including the official Facebook group run by Steamforged Games, as well as Board Game Geek. That's the official places where Rivet Wars Reloaded is being discussed. And then the unofficial, like the Discord. So all those links are down below. So we will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. Let's get discussions going.